I kid you not, this inquiry after inquiry. But we had a new inquiry which opened yesterday, led by the chairman, Sir Adrian Fulford, and he's looking into basically the failures that by all the authorities that led to Axel Rudakubana being able to carry out that horrific attack that left 3 little girls dead: Alice de Silva, Aguiar, Baby King and Elsie Dot Stancoom, all primary school age girls, and also a number of other children also stabbed, and 2 adults as well. Absolutely devastating impact of that horrific attack on not just those families, but, well, let's face it, the whole country. We saw riots afterwards. But the chairman of the inquiry has said that the Southport murders were the result of a wholesale and general failure to stop Axel Rudakubana in the run-up to the attack. How many times have we heard that before, eh? Well, let's talk to Roy Ramm. He's a former commander of specialist operations at New Scotland Yard and joins us. Good morning to you, Roy.
Good morning.
I mean, what a surprise. There's not been a terror. I know people say whether this is a terror attack or not, whatever the motivation. It doesn't seem to be a single terror attack in this country where there hasn't been a wholesale failure to prevent somebody from taking action. We know some of this already. The whole, he was referred to Prevent when he became obsessed with violent videos, talked about wanting to kill his classmates, at one point planned a massacre of his former school. The social workers were so scared they had to have a police officer with them when they came to his house. He referred to Prevent, but he didn't quite fit a right category, so nothing was done. I mean, litany of failure after failure after failure. But why does this happen?
The short answer is I'm not sure yet, but I think we're going to find out. I think, one of the most pertinent comments was made actually by the trial judge. We've had this awful, harrowing trial. We've heard the details which have convicted this man. Yeah. At the conclusion, the judge said, whatever his motivation was, it misses the point in terms of, was it terrorism, was it not terrorism? Yeah. What's quite clear is that he was identified as a deeply dangerous and troubled individual many times. Yeah. And the interaction between the various agencies is where it failed. I mean, I can kind of understand these guys in Prevent saying, well, do you know what? There's no obvious ideological path here for him being a member of a terrorist group or aspiring to be. But what do you do then? Yeah. He is nevertheless really dangerous.
Yeah. And they knew he was. I mean, even his own father having to sort of talk him out of getting out of a taxi. He was an Uber or a taxi, and he was going to, with a knife, planning to go and kill his classmates. He walked into his old school. He'd expelled because of violence with a hockey stick and beat students. We knew he had knives, and we knew we'd been able to buy them online. The obsession with the authorities afterwards was, or once this all emerged, was, oh well, we need to ban the sale of lives online, on Amazon and the like. As if they're not going to be able to get a hold of them some other way, for goodness sake. But this is the issue. How many other Axel Rudakubanas are there, whether they are motivated by, Islamic State or a hatred of white people? He wanted a white genocide. He Googled that and talked about that an awful lot. Or whether they just are, a troubled individual, like we often hear about these youngsters who go into schools and shoot them up in America. Whatever the reason, if someone has been identified as, let's face it, a wrong and a potential grenade that could go off, we need to have a system for keeping us safe.
Yeah, we do. We absolutely do, Julia. And I think that this phase of the inquiry, which is really going to rehearse, in harrowing detail, a lot of the facts. But what it's also hopefully going to do is direct where phase 2 goes. Now, you're
and what's
quite
phase
right,
2 going to be?
Well, phase 2 is expected to consider the adequacy of the multi-agency approaches. So, it should say, well, this failed because, the cops weren't talking to the health service and the health service weren't talking to the education service. So I think what we should hope for is that out of this, either the remit of Prevent is expanded or redefined so that these kinds of individuals are spotted and suitable action is taken. But you can't just sort of say because the guy's not, for example, an Islamic fundamentalist, he's not dangerous, because he clearly was.
Yeah, exactly. And yet, realistically, some people might say, why can't you do this? But we can't just round up every troubled teenager Googling violent stuff online, because, my God, that's an awful lot of teenagers who are going to be in the clique. What do we do? I mean, you say it needs to be joined up. I mean, for me, the giveaway was Social workers feel it's too dangerous to enter his home without having police officer present. But he was free to roam the streets, and he had been at school with other people's kids. Now that doesn't tally to me. That doesn't tally. That can't be allowed.
I don't think it tallies for anybody. I mean, the number of times you hear people say something should be done about this, but there is no kind of mechanism, and we see it very often in our streets and in our city centres where there's behaviour that you think, well, something should be done about it. I think we kind of need a more robust attitude to this. We stop worrying quite so much about individual rights and the need to keep the public safe.
Yeah. Well, again, it would have been better for Axel Rudakubana if he hadn't committed this crime and if he'd got the help that he needed. There's clearly some, he was this angelic school, Welsh schoolboy at one point at the age of 12, and then he wasn't. Stuff has changed. Now, there's a lot of people who've viewed that there's a lot we don't know about this family that people would like to know more about and what happened to him, that something happened. But we do see this isn't an isolated case. There are people. There was a young boy, can't know his name because of his age, only a couple of weeks ago, who was convicted of plotting something very similar. And again, with these cases, we're often not told about them for a long time. We don't know their names, we don't know the details. And it was only because he was just shy of his 18th birthday we were able to find out Axel Rudakubana's name so soon. But I mean, not soon enough for a lot of people for what happened on the Southport riots. But there are more Axel Rudakubanas out there. And what we don't want is there to be more, Alice, Bibis and Elsies who have to be their victims.
Absolutely. And I think that also gives rise to thinking about how you empower schools and teachers to ask difficult questions. I think a lot of the time people are afraid because your accusations are going to be made against them, regardless of whether it's race or religion. But accusations are going to be made against them that they're overstepping the boundaries. But most teachers can spot a wrong 'un.
Yes.
It's what they are then allowed to do about it that I think needs to be addressed.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking a kid in my school talking about white genocide and knives and things and being found on a bus, I think on 5 or 6 occasions with a knife. I'm thinking, the clues were pretty strong and no one acted. So. And again, just finally, we're going to be told lessons will be learnt, will they?
Well, I kind of feel that they might be this time round. I think the public upset that the awfulness, the absolute awfulness of this particular incident,
might actually make them act.
It might actually call for a bit more.
Please God, let's hope so. I wish I had your optimism. Roy Ramm, former commander of specialist operations at New Scotland Yard, very much appreciate your